Rim. The glass had a thin gold rim that made it look elegant. The glass had a thin gold rim that made it look elegant.
边缘
Rip. He accidentally ripped his shirt on a nail. He accidentally ripped his shirt on a nail.
撕扯裂开
Ripple. The breeze created ripples across the pond. The breeze created ripples across the pond.
涟漪
Rival. The two companies have been rivals for decades. The two companies have been rivals for decades.
对手
Roam. The deer roamed freely in the forest. The deer roamed freely in the forest.
漫游
Robin. A robin sang in the tree above. A robin sang in the tree above.
知更鸟
Robust. The robust athlete finished the race easily. The robust athlete finished the race easily.
强健的
Rod. He used a rod to measure the depth of the water. He used a rod to measure the depth of the water.
棍子
Rubbish. He threw away all the rubbish from his desk. He threw away all the rubbish from his desk.
垃圾
Rugged. The rugged mountain trail was challenging to hike. The rugged mountain trail was challenging to hike.
高低不平的
Rumble. The thunder rumbled in the distance. The thunder rumbled in the distance.
隆隆响
Rustle. The leaves rustled in the breeze. The leaves rustled in the breeze.
沙沙作响
Sacred. The temple is considered a sacred place. The temple is considered a sacred place.
神圣的
Saddle. She carefully placed the saddle on the horse before riding. She carefully placed the saddle on the horse before riding.
马鞍
Saint. Saint Francis is a beloved saint in many cultures. Saint Francis is a beloved saint in many cultures.
圣徒
Salmon. She grilled the salmon for dinner. She grilled the salmon for dinner.
鲑鱼
Salute. The soldiers saluted their commander. The soldiers saluted their commander.
敬礼
Sandal. She wore sandals to the beach. She wore sandals to the beach.
凉鞋
Savage. The savage storm caused major damage in the village. The savage storm caused major damage in the village.
野蛮的
Scan. The doctor scanned the patient's X-rays. The doctor scanned the patient's X-rays.
扫描
Scandal. The politician's scandal made headlines worldwide. The politician's scandal made headlines worldwide.
丑闻
Scar. The scar on his arm reminded him of the accident. The scar on his arm reminded him of the accident.
伤痕
Scent. The scent of flowers filled the room. The scent of flowers filled the room.
香气
Scheme. The company devised a scheme to improve efficiency. The company devised a scheme to improve efficiency.
计划
Scorn. She scorned his offer to help, feeling she didn't need it. She scorned his offer to help, feeling she didn't need it.
青叶
Scramble. They scrambled up the rocky slope. They scrambled up the rocky slope.
爬行仓促凑成
Scrap. She saved every scrap of fabric for her project. She saved every scrap of fabric for her project.
碎片
Scrape. He scraped the paint off the wall. He scraped the paint off the wall.
刮擦
Scroll. The ancient scroll contained valuable information. The ancient scroll contained valuable information.
卷轴
Sculptor. The sculptor shaped the marble into a beautiful statue. The sculptor shaped the marble into a beautiful statue.
雕刻家
Secure. They secured the doors before leaving. They secured the doors before leaving.
安全的
Segment. The show was divided into several segments. The show was divided into several segments.
部分
Sensation. The strange sensation in her arm worried her. The strange sensation in her arm worried her.
感觉轰动的事
Sensitivity. Her sensitivity to others' emotions is remarkable. Her sensitivity to others' emotions is remarkable.
敏感
Sentiment. The public sentiment was in favor of the new policy. The public sentiment was in favor of the new policy.
情绪
Sergeant. The sergeant gave the troops their orders. The sergeant gave the troops their orders.
陆军中士
Series. The book is part of a popular fantasy series. The book is part of a popular fantasy series.
系列
Sermon. The pastor's sermon inspired many in the congregation. The pastor's sermon inspired many in the congregation.
布道
Server. The server brought our food promptly. The server brought our food promptly.
服务生发球员伺服器
Setting. The novel's setting is in a small coastal town. The novel's setting is in a small coastal town.
安装环境背景布景
Shabby. His shabby coat had several holes. His shabby coat had several holes.
破烂的
Sharpen. He sharpened the pencil before drawing. He sharpened the pencil before drawing.
使变锐利磨尖
Shatter. The window shattered during the storm. The window shattered during the storm.
粉碎
Sheriff. The sheriff enforced the law in the small town. The sheriff enforced the law in the small town.
警长
Shield. The knight held up his shield for defense. The knight held up his shield for defense.
盾牌
Shiver. She shivered in the cold wind. She shivered in the cold wind.
打战
Shortage. The town faced a water shortage during the drought. The town faced a water shortage during the drought.
短缺
Shortcoming. She was aware of her shortcomings and worked to improve. She was aware of her shortcomings and worked to improve.
缺点
Shove. He shoved the door open. He shoved the door open.
推
Shred. He shredded the document after reading it. He shredded the document after reading it.
碎片
Shriek. She shrieked in excitement. She shrieked in excitement.
尖叫
Shrine. Pilgrims visited the ancient shrine. Pilgrims visited the ancient shrine.
圣坛
Shrub. The garden was filled with flowering shrubs. The garden was filled with flowering shrubs.
灌木
Shudder. She shuddered at the creepy sound. She shuddered at the creepy sound.
发抖
Shutter. The shutter clicked as he took the photo. The shutter clicked as he took the photo.
百叶窗快门
Silkworm. Silkworms are vital in the production of silk fabric. Silkworms are vital in the production of silk fabric.
残
Simmer. The soup simmered on the stove. The soup simmered on the stove.
钝
Skeleton. The museum displayed a dinosaur skeleton. The museum displayed a dinosaur skeleton.
骨骸
Skull. The skull protects the brain. The skull protects the brain.
头盖骨
Slap. He slapped the table in frustration. He slapped the table in frustration.
果
Slaughter. The farm handles the humane slaughter of animals. The farm handles the humane slaughter of animals.
屠宰
Slay. The hero slayed the dragon. The hero slayed the dragon.
杀害
Sloppy. His sloppy handwriting was hard to read. His sloppy handwriting was hard to read.
草率的
Slump. The stock prices slumped after the announcement. The stock prices slumped after the announcement.
衰落
Sly. The fox had a sly expression. The fox had a sly expression.
狡猾的
Smash. He smashed the vase by accident. He smashed the vase by accident.
粉碎
Snarl. The dog snarled at the stranger. The dog snarled at the stranger.
吠咆哮
Snatch. She snatched her bag from the thief. She snatched her bag from the thief.
夺走
Sneak. He sneaked out of the house quietly. He sneaked out of the house quietly.
偷偷地走做
Sneakers. He wore sneakers to the gym. He wore sneakers to the gym.
运动鞋鬼祟的人
Sniff. She sniffed the flowers. She sniffed the flowers.
嗅
Snore. He snores loudly every night. He snores loudly every night.
打呼
Snort. She snorted at his silly comment. She snorted at his silly comment.
喷鼻息
Soak. The clothes were soaked in water. The clothes were soaked in water.
浸泡
Sober. He was sober and responsible at the party. He was sober and responsible at the party.
清醒的
Soften. She softened her stance after hearing his explanation. She softened her stance after hearing his explanation.
使变柔软
Sole. He repaired the sole of his shoe. He repaired the sole of his shoe.
一鞋底二单独的
Solemn. The event had a solemn atmosphere. The event had a solemn atmosphere.
庄严的
Solitary. He enjoyed solitary walks in the park. He enjoyed solitary walks in the park.
独自的
Solo. She sang a solo at the concert. She sang a solo at the concert.
独唱单飞
Sovereign. The country became sovereign after years of struggle. The country became sovereign after years of struggle.
具独立主权的
Sow. Farmers sow seeds in spring. Farmers sow seeds in spring.
播种
Spacecraft. The spacecraft landed safely on Mars. The spacecraft landed safely on Mars.
太空船
Spaceship. The astronauts boarded the spaceship. The astronauts boarded the spaceship.
太空船
Specialist. She is a specialist in digital marketing. She is a specialist in digital marketing.
专家
Specimen. The scientist examined the insect specimen under the microscope. The scientist examined the insect specimen under the microscope.
标本
Spectacle. The fireworks were an impressive spectacle. The fireworks were an impressive spectacle.
奇观眼镜加 s
Spectator. The spectators cheered for their team. The spectators cheered for their team.
观众
Spine. The doctor examined the patient's spine for injuries. The doctor examined the patient's spine for injuries.
脊椎
Splendor. The palace was filled with splendor and elegance. The palace was filled with splendor and elegance.
壮丽
Sponge. She used a sponge to clean the dishes. She used a sponge to clean the dishes.
海绵
Spotlight. The performer stood in the spotlight. The performer stood in the spotlight.
聚光灯
Sprint. She sprinted to the finish line. She sprinted to the finish line.
冲刺